You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
The views expressed by the individuals during this broadcast are their own opinions, and they may not be the same as those of their group or other organizations they may be involved with.
All medical advice during our broadcast is not a medical opinion and should be checked with your medical physician.
I want to talk about news, don't want the drama. From no pretentious media Madonna. I found me a great ganja mama. Cannabis and coffee with Tamarijuana.
Good morning, muffins. How's everybody doing today? Today we are going to start my show with this. I know I kind of sound upbeat and everything because, gotta stay positive, right? Because that's what Neil would have wanted. And the last couple weeks before he went on to the big, smoking couch in the sky, he was sending out positive messages to everybody. Now, this picture was taken, I believe, the second Freedom Tour that he ran through Lethbridge, and this is my son, Taven. Taven was about, I would say, 8 months old there. Taven's now 14. So we met Neil back in, we were living in Tabor before Taven was even born, so I would say probably 2006. When he first started doing his Freedom Tours, and he was roller skating across Canada to take the message about cannabis freedom to Ottawa. And he sparked a lot of momentum. And we kept going, and eventually we ended up with legalization. Now, to be honest, Neil was not happy with that. I'm not going to say he was. He was not happy with that. And he bucked the system every step of the fucking way, and he did. And why the cannabis substitution program in Vancouver got busted over and over again, and he kept rebuilding and fighting back. Because opioids, we all know, are killing people, right? And Neil had a strong belief that cannabis substitution was the answer to helping people get off opioids without the methadone, or with hand in hand as a tool to help therapeutically in whatever way possible. So, Neil was, like I said, he was an amazing person. There's so many things that I could say about this man, but there we are. This is, I believe, the first Freedom. Maybe it was the first Freedom Tour. And here's another picture of us, and here I am. There's Neil, and this is Rick Weber. He owned Bob headquarters in Lethbridge at the time, and this is Jack Elliman. Jack was along for the ride. This is the second Freedom Tour. Like I said, there's so many, but he came to Lethbridge, and here's the second cut. There's Jack again, second group. But he spoke, and he would tell people about his message, and we protested. So and this is this was the first Freedom Tour, I believe. We picked him up in Medicine Hat, or him and Jack were driving like I said, there's been so many times, because he's been to my house on so many occasions. Like even here, he was going through to Saskatoon to the medicinal. Here we are. This is in Tabor. I'm in Jack. This is another picture. This is the Cannabis Culture Lounge. But this is in my house here in Tabor. This is in Tabor. We're sitting in my house here. So, like I said, he has been to my house. This is the second Freedom Tour. Jack was in that. They had the motorhome. Like I said, there's been so much over the years, just ongoing. But the cannabis substitution program that runs in Vancouver also runs in Halifax now. And Chris Backer took that on head on a few years ago too. And I believe there's another one working in Winnipeg. And I said this a couple of years ago that I'd like to get one started here, but trying to get the donations and to be able to, do this. And I don't grow myself anymore, unfortunately, right? But we just had a 13-year-old die of a drug overdose in Cranbrook. A fucking 13-year-old, okay? This is touching our children. And the worst part about it is other children are selling them the fucking poison. And cannabis was put this, umbrella around it that anything 19 and under in this province, I'm telling you, if my fucking kid came to me, hypothetically, maybe he has, maybe he hasn't, and said, Mom, I want to smoke cannabis, I will go buy it for him from the store. So I'm making sure that he's not getting it laced with fentanyl or carfentanil or some other fucking stupid shit that's going on in our towns. And again, like I said, we as parents, and myself being a recovered addict, having a daughter that went through 12 years of fucking addiction, I'm on the first line of this, right? I've been on the first line of fucking drug overdoses and all this shit for years. And I want to see change. And it's not going to be our fucking government that does it. And I wish people would understand that. We have to take control of our own lives. We're the only ones that can control our destinations. Anyways, and Neil was a strong believer of that too. He bucked the government, he bucked the system. And again, he was not happy with legalization. He figured that the patients have been left out, which they have. Okay. Now, again, Health Canada has done another report, blah, blah, blah. And they say they're going to do some research and blah, blah, blah. Okay. Until I see it, I'll believe it. And that's where I'm at with that. And like I said, everybody that knows me knows I've been doing this for a very fucking long time. And losing Neil has been, like I said, it's been from Michelle Rainey, right? With the cannabis cure with fecal. It's not always a cure for everybody, folks. Okay. So please, like we say in the beginning of the show, do not take everybody's medical advice as gospel, because everybody's body and metabolism is different, right? So Michelle Rainey, we had to bury her. We've buried Gail. We've buried Neil now. We've buried, fuck, I can't even go on. The list is like endless. Your choices. I understand your choices. And that's exactly why we live in Canada, because we have the freedom of choice. But also be mindful that the medical community and science is a fucking thing for a reason. Just saying. And we don't discriminate against people that use pharma, no more than we discriminate people that don't. We want to make that message very clear, because there are some of our community that have to absolutely use pharma too. And it's not that we want to. We've had no choice and options other than, because we've tried everything. Right? So, on that note, love you, Neil. I will fucking carry your message to my grave. And I'm going to bring on my guest today, because she's also got a great message. I met Carmela while I was working at my store. She came in with this great big pot leaf shirt. And I just, hey, I love your shirt. And then we started talking. And then she came in the other day. It was kind of like, we talked about getting, doing some collaboration. And, me and my scatter had things go sideways. And she came back in and I said, hey, I want to have you on my show. So we, connected up, and I'm going to bring her on here and let her tell her story, because I haven't heard all of it. I've bits and pieces, and I've watched little bits and pieces of her show because busy kid, whatever. But I want you to hear it, because again, nothing's better than hearing a story from a patient that's actually been able to use cannabis and use it effectively. So this is Carmela Wishlow, and she's got her own show too. And welcome, my dear. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having me on.
I'm honored to have you on. There's so much, like I said, we've kind of talked a little bit about, this and that and here and there, but I want to hear from the beginning as to, like I said, who you are and what brought you into the world of cannabis.
Okay. It's such a crazy story, and I've had to shrink it down before, and then that's why I started doing my show, because I was like, I need to talk about more detail and stuff. And so yeah, I can slam it back down into amount of time again, best I can for you guys. So basically, for about 12 years, I was diagnosed with stage 4 endometriosis, fibromyalgia, osteoarthritis in my hip, depression, anxiety, very suicidal, infertility, TMJ in my jaw, and just a vast range of things that were stamped on paper, disabled for life, disabled for life, disabled for life. And I'd been told over and over and over, you'll never be cured, you'll never be healed, you're just going to live like this for the rest of your life, and you'll be disabled the rest of your life. But that's okay, because we'll take care of you and get you on disability and blah, blah. And I was like, but I'm 25. I don't want to live the rest of my life thinking I'm going to be disabled and have no freedom to do anything as a normal 20-year-old would be able to do. My whole 20s was just gone. People would be like, we're going water skiing. I was like, I'm laying in bed, and I just, if people don't know much about endometriosis, I'll kind of just give an overview of, basically they tell you that it's your lining in your uterus, your endometrium lining is seeping out back through your uterus and creating lesions, adhesions, and all that. And so that's basically what I was told. And so believe that. And then they just kept telling me well, you have to be on hormone drugs, you have to be on this, and you have to be on birth control, and you have to have surgeries all the time. It's a constant thing. And then, one day you're going to get a hysterectomy. And then even after the hysterectomy, your endo is still not gone. And so I was just told all these super depressing things for so long, and just lived in pain for so long, was alone for so long with all of that. And I just, I had no hope. I was literally at my wit's end. And ready to end it all the time. Like I literally have stories I've talked about in my other shows about like literally ready to drive off a cliff, and then ended up seeing some hitchhikers and pick them up instead. So I wouldn't do that. Like, and so thankful I'm here today to tell my story, because I was ready to end it all. Like I had no hope, none. And I had tried everything. Like everything from Big Pharma. And then I tried things from cannabis stores, and I tried like capsules and tinctures and this and that. And like, it was just crazy. And I was like, nothing works. Like, nothing works. I'm going to die like this. Like I'm going to die young. Like this sucks. Anyway, sorry, I'm trying to continue. No, I'll be okay. I need to relight my doobie here like this.
And again, like people don't understand that young people like yourself. Like, I mean, if you get diagnosed, like, I mean, my body started kind of falling apart at 49, right? Like, menopause kind of said, hey, here I am, knock, knock, knock. I had a baby at 39, right? So that also like brings onset earlier menopause, right? So but at 49, I got the knock, and it was like, hey, here's your autoimmune disease is going to really kick you in the ass. Like I was diagnosed with colitis when I was 16, and I've got a rare form of colitis. I've got lymphatic colitis. So there's really no cure. There's no treatment for any of that, right? The doctors told me straight up, here, Metamucil, high fiber. Like there's really nothing we can do for you, right? And I lived my life eating and doing whatever I wanted, or not eating at all, basically making myself anorexic, but not really, because I'd eat. I wouldn't purge, but my body would immediately get rid of any food in me. Right. So I'd eat 20 minutes later. I'm sitting on a bathroom, getting rid of everything, not purging, not willingly or voluntarily doing it. My body's saying, you don't need that food, and nothing absorbing. Right. So again, like causing me to be not really sick my whole life. Like I was never really sickly. But again, at 49, it was like, haha, we're coming back for you. Right. Hormones have a lot to do with it. I don't think as women, because there's no research done on a lot of women's health. Like we've been kind of left behind when it comes to everything.
Even
like
with endometriosis, they kept telling me over and over, we still don't know everything, but this is what we think.
Women's health, right? So women's health, women's research on our bodies, our reproduction, never mind our hearts and our strokes and everything else, because physically we are totally different from a man, and all the research that's been done has been done on men, and they don't have a fucking uterus. So how are they supposed to research a fucking uterus when they don't got one? Right? So again, women's health is super, super important to us right now. And again, we discussed this too about being, the pro-choice, life kind of thing, right? Again, women's health would be like something like what you're going through, endometriosis. And I've got other friends that suffer from endometriosis. There's stuff. I got one friend that's like in her 50s, and the same shit. It was always this, that, and everything else. We can give you a hysterectomy. We don't, don't worry, you can adopt. She didn't want to fucking adopt. She wanted to have her own children, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But again, endometriosis is something that there's very little research done.
Yeah. So anyways, basically I at my wit's end, just ready to end it all. And I had met my man who I'm with now, my hubby, and he was good friends with this guy named Bill. And so I had heard about him, met him a few times. They talked about what he was doing and making and learning and all that. And I was like, okay, like, I'm okay. Like I tried everything, whatever. And then it came down to it where I was having a Zoom meeting with my gynecologist, and she was like, okay, we're going to do your 4th surgery, and it's going to be full hysterectomy, and it's going to be awesome, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, whoa, like slow down. Like I literally, you have said already, I have so many things going on in my life, in my health and everything, that just diving in and doing more surgery is not helping anything. It's not curing it. It's not healing anything. It's actually making everything worse, because you keep going in and messing with me. And really the one in Vancouver, like destroyed me. Like wow, like I can't even go there. But anyway, so yeah, like they just kept wanting to go in and go in and go in. And I was like, enough. Like, and so when they want to just rip everything out, I was full on bawling my eyes out in tears. And I ended the Zoom meeting, and I looked at my man and I said, you call Bill right now and get me talking to Bill and figure out what to try. Like, because I've heard good stuff about Bill's stuff. So fine, I'll try it, because like I was at my wit's end. And so I told the gynecologist, I said, I'm going to try a different route and hopefully not need my 4th surgery ever again. Like, and so, yeah, to this day, Bill's stuff worked amazingly for me. And like his product, amazing. His Zero High, it literally does not get you high. So I could go back to work and take it. I could like drive with it, and like you can give it to your children even. Like it's very, very amazingly made stuff. Anyway, so I started taking it. I was terrified of another surgery, and I literally couldn't believe. I was like, oh my gosh, this is helping. Like this is gone. Like my depression is gone. Like I don't look at life like I want to end it all anymore. And like things like mentally started peeling off. And I was like, oh my gosh. Like, and then like to the point where I started waking up every morning going, I have no pain. Like, is this what normal people feel? Like, this is crazy, because I just couldn't believe. I had lived so many years in constant pain. It never stopped. It was always somewhere, like with fibro and with endo, like it's always somewhere. Like, and yeah, I used to be made fun of for that. They were like, if it isn't one thing that's hurting, it's another. And I'm like, well, yeah, like it's shitty to live like that. Like, so yeah, to start waking up every morning and realizing like, oh my gosh, Bill's stuff is working. Like, this is crazy. Like, and yeah, to the point that, yeah, it's been 3.5 years or something now. I'd have to calculate, but yeah, I have not needed a surgery. I've not needed morphine. I've not needed to go to the hospital. I've not needed painkillers. My periods are amazing. Like I am like balanced. The hormone drug I was on before was called Luperline, and it was turning me into a man. And I didn't know that was doing that until it was like too late. And then I was like, what? And I started doing research on pubchem.org. If you ever want to look up different drugs and medications, you can find tons of research.
Yeah.
So I went on there and looked up this drug and found out they also use it for like chemical castration and sadists and this and that. And I was like, why are you putting me on this? Like, I'm this little girl that has endometriosis apparently and suffering from painful periods because of whatever is causing it. And they won't go in and figure out what's causing it, but no, we'll slap you on a drug to turn you into a man. Like, what? So yeah, when I'm still like pushing out that stuff and cleansing from it, but Bill's stuff literally, it brought my tits back. Like I break, I'm like, sorry, Bill, but like, thanks for my tits, because I went from a 34 double D down to flat. And they were gone, and my voice was deepening, and my libido was gone, and like everything was changing in me. And I was like, what is happening? This is gross. Like, I'm a woman. Like, how come I don't feel like a woman at all? And it was so scary. And so, yeah, what Bill's amazing tinctures just brought me back. Like, I couldn't believe it. And I was like, what? This is crazy. And then the most recent thing that I've been even noticing now, still like being very weaned down on the very high dosage I was on at the beginning, but I'm like way weaned down to I just take it when I want. But I'm still noticing like effects of it, because I'm like, oh my gosh, my tits are huge again. Like what's happening? Like my boobs are back. Like I'm so happy. And so yeah, like it's absolutely amazing. And it was like, one of them that I don't hear much people talk about is the CBC that he does. And then there was the THC, which is amazing for my pain. And then the CBD one is great for like sleep, but like a million more things than that, right? But the basics of I understand like how to use them now in just my everyday life of maintaining good health and my endocannabinoid system at the top.
And
right?
that's the thing. Most of the research that has come out of anything is being done by other people that are patients, right? And again, we've got like, there's so many different compounds and different ways of doing things. And like I said before, there's nothing that's wrong. Like even the product that you used before wasn't wrong per se for somebody else. It just didn't work for you. Right.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And there's the CBCs, the CBDs, the CBNs, the CBHs, the THC2, right? There's a Delta 9, and then there's the THC. There are so many compounds in that plant that, you know, and again, but I'm again, there's full spectrum. Right. So there's other people that have different theories and we're all entitled to, but none of us have actually got the medical science to actually figure out what the fuck's going on. Right. Until we get the medical science, which hopefully, you know, we can get more openings done, because I know that even most of the testing that's being done in the legal market is just for levels of THC, terpenes, CBDs, like, you know, and they're not testing to see, because it's not medical, right? It's not medical. And we have this medical program that we've had since 1998. Okay. The first Section 56 was given to my friend Allison Martin, right? And then Robin and Al Barassa. And there was other patients that had the Section 56, my friend Debbie Stoltz-Giffen as well, who lives in Nova Scotia, who runs Maritimers United for Medical Marijuana. They were the first Section 56s in Canada. Then the government was then forced into making the MMAR program, right? But the government's never really given us the program. We had to fight in the courts of law to force them to give us our human rights out of the charter. And that's even how the ACMPR worked, because they tried taking our grow licenses away from us, right? And we said, and that's how the license production got started, to be fair, because, you know, that government said, hey, you guys you can't grow your own medicine anymore. We're going to take that we're going to build these great big license production sites, and they're going to provide you with this medicine. And we're going to have this program called the MMPR. And we went, no, we're not. And back to court we went. Fucking John Conroy fought for our lives, and he won. So we can grow our own medicine again, right? Hence the ACNPR come in. So again, like I said, everything that patients have gotten is because we've pushed through the court systems and fought that charter right? And that's exactly why we're where we are, and why we can actually produce the stuff that is being produced, even on the legal market now, right? Again, we'll have laugh about this. Like, you can get suppositories and face cream in the legal recreational market. What's recreational about that? It's not. It's medical, right? But the medical, you can't go into a legal market store and ask them. They're not allowed to say anything, right?
Yeah.
So that's where we're at when we need, like I said, anything medical. And you're medical. Like, no matter how you slice this, you're medical, right? And in reality, there's nowhere for you to access your medicine. The only way you can access it is because you know somebody. So if you had to go and access that anywhere, right? And that's where the gap is for patients, and why we have to keep fighting.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bill was saying something about, so there's like the full spectrum, but full spectrum has been torn apart but put back together in full spectrum. So his is natural spectrum, which is the entire thing never separated from itself.
Yep, it should never
and
be.
So he was explaining it like that, and I was like, oh, that's really interesting, actually.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because molecules in them should not be separated. It's kind of like when people say they're decarbing their cannabis before they put it into butter, and I'm like, why? Well, you have to activate it. But when you're putting it into butter and you're warming it,
it's warming it. It's doing
it.
Yeah.
Activating it, right?
Yeah.
Why do you want to take the THC off that? Because when you're heating it in the oven, you're taking the THC2 off of it. You're actually depleting the medicine off that plant, and then you're going to reheat it again in the butter. You're also depleting the CBNs and the CBDs in it, right? So why are you double heating? So again, if other people will decarb and they tell you all these things, and that's fine. That's right for them. Me, on the other hand, I'll say, no, I don't do that. That's not how it works for me, right? So again, all in the process of how the cannabis is processed, what you're using, how you're growing it, there are so many different variables.
And you can grow different plants for different people too, like according to what they need. Like, yeah, it's really beautiful. There needs to be, tons more research. Right? I know Bill's got a future lab thing that's like a hands-on learning education purposes thing that's in the works in plans and stuff, and so that's really neat because of what's happening there. So I was like, yes, because we need more education and hands-on and this and that, and like labs to be able to see how this is done and like understand it more. And so it's really beautiful what's happening on Bill's end and stuff.
And like I said, because it's like we're like in our area, right? Because the show's based out of Ontario. There's so many cool things going on in different provinces, but each province has its own regulations too, right? So what we can do out here in British Columbia, they might not be able to do in Ontario. Like, I know, even I was talking to my friend Debbie yesterday in Nova Scotia, they don't have private stores, right? They have, everything goes through the Newfoundland government. So they've got like 4 legal stores, and everything goes through like the LCBD here. Like the first store we had opened in Cranbrook was the one that's connected to the liquor store. It was the BC government store, right? Yeah. And after that, the other little stores were able to open in their private stores. In Alberta, they could open private stores everywhere because liquor has been privatized in Alberta. So everything goes under the liquor, gaming, tobacco.
It's like all the same. Why? Like,
But it's not, because it's different province to province, right? So now our stores can deliver. In Alberta, they can deliver. In Ontario, they can't. A lot of the stores in Ontario, it was like a gown. There's not even here's the thing, in Quebec, they can't even wear a pot leaf in public. Right? Because every province, like after the federal government legalized it, which was just to regulate it, and then kicked it back to the provinces, right? So the provinces could then make their own legislation across the board. So every province has its own Cannabis Act and its own rules. Right? So in Ontario, and also Nova Scotia, I guess the First Nations people are starting to set up their own dispensaries, because basically they're on unceded territory, and they're just saying, we'll be here whether you want us to or not. I love it. Fucking right. Everywhere is theirs. Why shouldn't they be able to set a store up wherever they want and not have to play the fucking, paperwork game and get the little red stamp? Like, fuck them. Like, why? Why bother with that shit? Right? Do it. But like I said, if Bill can, and that's the thing, like with medical, we need people like Bill. We need people like you to keep speaking for other patients, right? Because In hindsight, like you said, how old are you now?
33.
And you started this journey when you were 25.
No, like 17.
No, but I mean, like 25 is when you really, like you said, it was like you were just like at your wit's end, right? When did you meet?
It was about, I was actually kind of calculating that back. So like I met my man when I was, I think, 28, and I'm pretty sure I was like healed, and like my journey of like my talks and everything was like starting when I was 30, and I've been doing my talks for a year and a half now. So yeah.
So it wasn't like a long, like 10-year process to get yourself feeling better.
No. So I went through 12 years of misery, and then in like 3 months was already like, oh my gosh, it's working, what's happening, this is crazy.
And
like I was blown.
Cannabis products before too, right?
Oh, tons, tons. And I lived in Toronto for like 5 years, and I had tried a ton of things around there, and different capsules and different tinctures and different this, and take this drop and take this pill and it was all like cannabis related. And they were like, this will help. No, nothing touched me. And like, I was like, did I take anything? I kept saying that, like, I was so immune to like how much I smoked, right, that nothing even touched me. And I was like, I'm immune to everything. Like, it's not working. It's like I took nothing. And then Bill stuff, like immediately, my mental like was the first thing that was like, I started looking at life different again. And my man was like, thank God you're back. Like I was happy with him and happy with my kiddo, like with him. But like, I was still like, my life is over because I'm in so much pain and I had no hope. And I kept being told that like over and over, no hope, no cure, no hope, no cure. Well, that's why I feel I am cured by Bill's amazing tinctures, because I was told that I needed a surgery right away. Well, it's 2.5 years later and I don't need a surgery, and I look great and feel great and doing great. And like, so like, that's why I say this is my story. I cannot not tell my story because it's so exciting for me. Like I'm so blessed. Like,
and that's what I mean. Like that's amazing to me too. Because like I said, I've tried. Like I said, it intrigues me, right? Because here I am.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you know, you don't know until you try it. Like that's the thing. It took a year for them to convince me of like, you know, it's gonna work. I was like, no, it's not. I've tried everything, and wow, am I glad I finally freaking tried.
Too. Honestly, Carmela, I'm such a naysayer because of the fact that I've tried everything.
I get it. I said the same thing.
Specialist, right? I'm taking fucking methotrexate to, you know, suppress my immune system. I take hydromorphine when I'm in fucking pain because this doesn't help. Like nothing. Like I can smoke 100 fucking joints, fucking
exactly there.
Right? Like
I can't see it either. Me too. I was like, it's not going to work. I've just been told. And then, they've convinced me. They said, you stay on it. You stay consistent. Here's your dosage, and we'll keep you supplied and and you get better. And it freaking worked. And I was like, what? Like, no, this is crazy. Like, I'm still blown away.
Right. And again, like I said, it's almost like it's kind of weird how we met. Right?
Yeah, I think for a reason. I hope you can talk to Bill one day, see if it's going to work for you.
I'd like to have him on my show, to be honest.
Oh, absolutely. I would love if you would bring him on with me.
Because again, like I said, everything works for everybody else. And we've said this before, we can't cookie cutter everything, right?
Right. And I can only speak for myself, but the way he says it as an amazing, amazing cannabis health consultant, he's so kind, he's so caring, but he listens to you too. Like instead of some doctors, you're like, I have this, and they're like, okay, blah, blah, and they're not listening. They're just writing a prescription. So I'm like,
doctor or is naturopath? Like, what's his credentials?
So cannabis health consultant, and then he has a master's in cannabis, and he's an apprentice congier, and then he works with Cannabis for Children International, which is CFCI, and he works with Doctors for Cannabis Regulation, which is DFCR. So and it's just amazing.
He's not a medical doctor, right? He's not.
What's that?
But he's not a medical doctor.
No, that's why I don't call him Dr. Bill. He's my cannabis health consultant. Yeah.
I mean, like just to be like, just so for our, you know, anybody that's watching, like, he's not a medical physician.
Yeah, he actually he has the license to be able to go and talk to your medical doctor and say they would benefit from this. Okay. So he can like prescribe to your medical doctor for you, like basically. So he's your consultant. He's the guy to get you what you need.
Right.
Yeah. No, and he'll let you know what you need too. Like, cause your doctor doesn't know.
Right. But prior to his cannabis, he's not trained in medical.
No, he started this in the first place because he had his own ailments, and he started making and playing and doing stuff and researching himself. Yeah. And then all of a sudden was like, oh my goodness, it works for me. Then started sharing with friends and goes, it works for them. And then somehow magically I met Bill in this line, and now I'm
Yeah. No, that's good because, like I said, we just want to make like you just have to be clear. Like, if he was a lawyer before, what did you do? Like, that's like me. Like,
He's a carpenter.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter. Like I said, he's now found
and an amazing musician too.
too, right? He's using cannabis for his own ailments, right?
Yeah.
Another
And
thing.
now he's sharing his knowledge with the world. Like, it's amazing. I'm so blessed.
I agree. Like, that's like I said, a lot of times it's other patients helping.
And he is a self-patient, self-cured, self-helped. Yeah. And then shared with the world now. And I'm part of that. And I just want to keep going and sharing. And
Okay. That's awesome. That's so cool. We're going to talk more about that when we come back. We have to take that nice little break that we have to thank our sponsors who are Legacy 420, Campbellford Lifestyle Show, and the Limestone City Hydroponics. We'll be right back after this commercial.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, open Monday to Friday from 10 till 7 p.m. or by chance. Check out our flags, our t-shirts, plus our hats. And look of that supply of rolling papers, plus much more. We've got bongs and your favorite herbal vaporizers. Look at all the incense we have. As well as, for those who collect knives, check out these knives in our collection. And while you're here, stop in to see Shay at the piercing room, where you can get poked by Shay. Daily deals, check them out. Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford, Ontario.
When you have a pain that's reached its peak, Legacy for 20, it's so unique. If organic cannabis is what you seek, here's your trusted partner 7 days a week. Suppository salves, vapes and drops, topicals, edibles, infused pop. Just when life seems like it ain't easy, at Legacy 420, enjoy a pop freezy. Lab tested products, make them the GOAT. Legacy 420 out on your road. Legacy 420 in Tyendinaga Mohawk territory. Indigenous organic cannabis at its finest.
What do you find at paceradio.net? People advocating cannabis education.
Limestone City Hydroponics is Kingston, Ontario's hydroponics shop. Take your growing to the next level and create the optimal environment with a tent kit, or maximize your yield with an ebb and flow flood table kit. Either way, Limestone City Hydroponics has more sizes and options to fit your needs. Are you looking for the power of the sun that adapts to your budget? Then look no further, as they have professional grow lighting. They have indoor grow systems that are easy and cost effective, with many options to fit your living space and lifestyle. Cultivate your growing potential. We have everything you need to succeed. And if you can't make it to the store, they offer local delivery to the greater Kingston area. Remember, when you're looking for experts to help you grow, then look no further than the locally owned Limestone City Hydroponics, 105 Sunderland Drive in Kingston, Ontario. Call them at 613-548-0420.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
All right, we're back after that quick break. Again, I want to thank our sponsors because not for them, we'd have to pay for this, and some of us are broke. Also, I want to shout out to Al because I'm smoking his beautifully grown. I believe this is the Kush that he sent me, that he grows himself, because I've got my other patient's friends. See, I got busted mailing out 4 grams of cannabis to another patient, and I got busted for trafficking. And I had to do 6 months house arrest. So, but now you can legally mail 30 grams. So we do it as often as we possibly can. And every time we do, we want to put "fuck Tamarijuana" right on the fucking outside of it. Yeah, I'm sure I'm the only one in Canada that's ever done 6 months house arrest for fucking mailing out 4 grams of marijuana.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Anyway, I've got friends that did time for fucking joints. Al actually has a buddy that got busted with 3 joints, and they fucking nailed him to the wall too.
Wow.
I know, right? I got into this to change law reform, and then I'd never had a drug charge in my life prior to this, and then I got busted. Yeah.
Oh,
anyways, let's get back to Dr. Bill. So, you said that he he has some projects and stuff. So how would one get a hold of him? Like, is he accessible? Like, is he?
So I would, I know you posted his card on there. My camera doesn't do very good up close or whatever, but yeah, you can call him or message him on, he's on Facebook. His name is Daryl Fay on Facebook. I call him Bill because he goes by Bill, but Daryl Fay. And then, yeah, his business card there. So the phone number's on there. And then zerohigh.ca is his website. And then, yeah, I'm just trying to figure out, they're talking. I have my man Al and then Bill on the same like messenger here going back and forth about something. So I need approval to talk about it, but something
again,
about
like I said, this is like this is kind of amazing even for me, right? Because I said I've tried all kinds of different things, and you guys being local too, like you know, that's like I said, there's just some reason that this is all coming together.
Yes.
For I think,
Yes.
but there's so many things that need to be changed too within, you know, within the regime for medical, for patients, right? Because like I said, the legal market, like as patients, so when we went to Ottawa, we asked for access. Okay, that was one of our demands. We wanted to make sure that everybody had access. It was called dignified access. And we, you know, went and we made this national report, bunch of our non-for-profits that we have in our community, and we took it and we sent it to Ottawa to Health Canada, and they read it, and it was in part and parcel brought in to effect that when the legalization was done, because of the stores, right? So if there were stores, that made it accessible for everybody. So that part of it was basically covered, right? So now people have access, which I'm not sad about. And with legalization too, like crime rates are down. There's 95%. Okay. People are not getting busted for possession of cannabis anymore for any, you know what I mean? That was a huge thing. People getting criminal records for fucking a little bit of weed because you were a consumer. You were, you know, like you got caught with a joint. You got caught like me. Like I got caught with less than 7 grams and have a criminal record for possession, right? Like I said, it's just like ridiculous that getting trafficking charges for 4 grams in the mouth. Like that's all ridiculous. And now you can mail out 30 grams.
Yeah.
And
so
now
he's saying on here that Bill said there's a possibility that my products will be available from Legacy 420. We are in talks as we speak. So I was allowed to say that. So
oh, Legacy 420. Imagine that.
Yeah, so that's really cool. So yeah, they just gave me the go that he said, yes, you can read Bill's message. So
you know what? You couldn't collaborate with a better group of people.
Awesome.
Honestly, Tim is like they're fucking amazing out there. Like Al, our producer, lives just not too far. He goes to the Tandanega quite a bit, right? We've done live shows from there. Like I have never been there because I like, as you know, where we live, right? I'm not out there. But my community's, you know, system networking too. Like I started in Lethbridge, which took me to Calgary, which took me to Toronto. Like I did a lot of stuff in my communities out in Toronto too. Like I went to TY Expos. Okay, that's how me and Al kind of met too, is because TY Magazine. I don't know if you've ever heard of the Treating Yourself Expos that were held back in 2007, 2008, 2009. And Marco Renda was the master in that. Okay, so we had a magazine called Treating Yourself Magazine, which then Michelle Rainey started writing for. She was involved with Mark Emery at Cannabis Culture in Vancouver too. So that was going on at the coast where the BC3, where Mark had been busted with Greg Williams and Michelle Rainey for selling seeds into the United States. Why Mark was extradited to the United States, we don't usually say his name much anymore because he's persona non grata, but they sold seeds to people in the United States that got busted, and they were both, all three of them were supposed to be extradited to the United States for seed sales. So Mark made a deal with the U.S. government. He was extradited. He went and did 5 years in the U.S. prisons, and Michelle and Greg were let go. Right? Michelle and Greg are both dead now. They both passed away from cancer, unfortunately. So we've lost them too along the way. Like I said, we have lost so many good activists along the way because they stuck to their, you know, guns. Like cannabis was their life. They were going to do it to the death, right? And that's what I mean. Like there's so much background, but again, like I said, if it wasn't for all these people collaborating to do all the things that we've done over the last 20 years, and prior to like Alison Murden, who's still fighting for her rights, right? We wouldn't have the cannabis legislations that we have. Patients wouldn't have the ability to grow their own medicines because as patients, Jason Wilcox, another one that has now passed away. God, I keep fucking bringing their names up and there's just so many that are gone. If it wasn't for Jason Wilcox, honestly, the Cannabis Coalition would have never gotten started and we would have never won our rights to grow back. I was a rep for Alberta because I was living out in Coronation at that time. But if we wouldn't have done that, and all the fundraising and all the money that went towards John Conroy, who was also a cannabis patient and a Supreme Court lawyer,
Wow.
who's also a Supreme Court lawyer, and if it wasn't for Owen Smith and Ted Smith taking that ruling for the baking to Supreme Court of Canada, we got the Smith ruling so that everybody can use baking, and we can use cannabis now in all forms. Because prior to that, you could throw raw cannabis flower into a cake, and that's it. Right? We weren't allowed, like, it was just, there were so many ridiculous regulations within this MMAR program that we had as patients, right?
Mm-hmm.
So again, all these people and all that have passed on behind us and before us have got us where we are. And being a patient has been hard for all of us, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Even
a moment of silence for all those that you named today that were a part of it that have
and
passed.
there's Gail Quinn too. She's another one, right? Gail's tea. Ted Smith has the first medical cannabis dispensary in Canada that was started in 1998, and it's called the Victoria Buyers Club, the VCBC, and it still runs in Victoria, but they've been busted, they've been raided, they owe millions of dollars in fines, and he gets up every day and he goes in there and he does it again. And if the CVS unit comes in and takes all his medicine, he's back up and running the next fucking day, and he's going, fuck you, because patients still need access to what they need. And the legal market gives us 10 milligrams on an edible. The tinctures that you're taking right now would not be available in the store because of the high level of THC that's probably in that tincture, right?
Oh yeah, I don't want to say anything that Bill likes to say, but yeah, it's interesting. He's kind of like done tests or sent away for tests, and they're showing that there's nothing. And I'm like, well, what's healing me then? Like, something's in there, like, Yeah, so yeah, I'll let him say more about that on his own. But basically, I've heard that as in, so yeah, it's kind of weird. He's kind of confused about that too, but. Yeah, and multiple different tries of different companies even. But yeah, anyways, I'll let Bill say more about that when he's on.
Legacy 420, honestly, is probably the only reputable, like, running. I wouldn't say reputable. I'd say they've got to elaborate on site, right? I've seen, like, I haven't been there in person, but I have seen what they've got going on in the back because Al, my producer, who I do Pace Radio with, has gone there physically and done it live, like, right? So what they've got going on out there is what every dispensary and every medical dispensary should be running, doing their own testing and doing all their own things. So, but again, if this is on the reserve, right? They're doing stuff that you can't do outside of that realm.
For a second, I thought it was my bunny barking, but then I was like, no, I don't. My dog's not here, so it can't be my bunny. It's yours. It's cute.
Somebody's either pulled up because I live like fairly close to Safeway, right?
Oh, okay.
And somebody either coming in or going out or something. Yeah, but it's just the dogs, and everybody's so used to that because on my show there's usually a time where I'm either putting myself on mute and screaming, "Shut the fuck up!"
I'm actually surprised my budgie's being quiet because she's away from her daddo right now, and she's been just chirping like crazy all day. So she's actually been pretty respectful and quiet. Good job, Janet. You're doing great. Because yeah, she like even this morning and last night, I just couldn't get her to shut up. I tried to nap yesterday, and I was like, I love you, but like, shh. Like, so yeah, she's been.
Like I said, there's no ever real silence around here, and I thought they were all in the house, so I didn't have them outside yapping. But apparently,
part of our lives, we love it.
I have the door closed, but like, if I don't close it tight enough, the little fuckers can take their little claws and open it, and then they go up because I've got the bottom of the outside door is open, so like a doggy door. So when it's nice outside, I can leave the inside door open, and they can come and go as they want to, right?
Yeah.
But I don't want them outside barking outside my bedroom window because I'm trying to do a show, and they'll little chihuahuas.
They
right?
know you're doing a show. They're like, hey, photo bombing in the background.
Well, like I said, my daughter came on the weekend, and now I've got another dog here.
Yeah, 12
dogs and all these littles, right? So again, like I said, this is so amazing that this stuff has been able to give you your life back, right?
Yeah, and absolutely. And now, like I was even gonna say, like I have 3 side hustles now that I do. I'm like photographer, model, fashion designer, and like I do aquarium services now, which is like freshwater aquarium services for people. Like, so yeah, I have all my business cards and designs and everything created like all by myself. And so my man was laughing. He was like, on your poster and on like all my posts and stuff. He goes, it looks like you have sponsors, but he goes, it's all you. And I was like, I know, like I'm hashtag all me. And then the zero highest bill, of course. But yeah, it's funny. So, but I can do this. I can because of cannabis. Like it's amazing. Yeah. I just so thankful. Yeah.
Well, I mean, like we all have our, like I said, cannabis saved my life too. Not so much for medical, but I was, struggling with addiction. many years ago.
What
We're
it
talking
can do for up here is
2005,
amazing.
right?
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
And I just, like I said, if it wasn't for cannabis, I don't even know, right? Like, I'm not gonna speculate,
I'm
if
there
it
too.
wasn't
Yep.
for that, right? So, like I said, and wasn't until I really got to know Michelle Rainey when we were talking about like my colitis and how I could get, like, what her message was: you can be louder if you're legal, right? Let's get you your paperwork. Let's get you your medical licensing exemption. Then you can, because we were growing, but we had a baby too. I had a baby, and I was like, I can't because of Taven, you know. But once I had those legal paperwork in my hand, I had the RCMP and CPS show up at my house when I moved to Coronation to come and bust me. I was running an illicit drug house. They come in and said, your child's been exposed to cannabis. We're going to take it. And I'm like, no, you're not. And I pulled out my paperwork and I said, get the fuck out of here. And the RCMP took one look at the fucking paperwork, took the social worker and said, sorry, there's nothing to see here. We got to go. So those pink piece of paperwork, as hard as fucking people saved my son from being taken into a system of fucking hell. And the RCMP said, well, can we at least see your plants? Funny enough, we had just moved up there and I'd had like the paperwork was in transfer for the licensing, right? And our friends had just brought us up 10 little fucking clones. So we had 10 little tiny, solo cups down in the basement underneath the lights. And I told the RCMP, come on down, I'll show you. Nothing fucking to see here, man. That fucking social worker didn't even want to see my son. Didn't see about food, diapers, fucking clothing, nothing. They didn't give a fuck about my son. They gave a fuck about the pot. And that's what infuriates. So that just spurred me even. Like, I mean, I've always been like, I did the first global marijuana march in Lethbridge in 2008, right? The cameraman at fucking on CTV and Terry Vogt gave me my name, Tamarijuana, and that Matt Murna kind of sealed it, right? So that's how I became Tamarijuana, because the cameraman from CTV said, "Oh, Tamarijuana," right? Like, we're like, this is not.
It
like,
is a really good swing to it. I like it.
So this has been like kind of like a side hustle for a volunteer pay position, non-paying, of course, for the last 17 years. So when we can bring new people in, and like I said, there's always going to be a new generation of people like you that have to bring that message forward and bring the new stuff forward, right? Because like I said, nobody in my community knows who Bill is. This is amazing because now we can bring him forward.
Now you guys can meet him and we'll bring him on.
And get to know you too, and promote your show and get people, and you telling your story, because that's the whole point of us sharing our stories, is to pass the education that we've experienced from our own life experience, right? And again, case study, like, okay, there might not be paperwork, there might not be 20 doctors up standing behind us saying that it's, this and this, but case studies are, and that's what it is patient's testimony has got us to where we are now, right? Why we're still like talking, and why we're talking about psilocybin and, the benefits of psilocybin and microdosing and, for mental health for that. And now look what's going on in this, and, they're actually doing research on psilocybin.
Right?
Live
testimonials is just,
Well, there's actually research being done actually right now at 2 universities in Canada. There was one that just came out, which we're not real pleased about, but it was, 2,300 people had cannabis poisoning over the last 8 years as they're older, because they're, calling it cannabis poisoning. What it is older people have probably eaten too much cannabis and had a bad side effect from it, and they've ended up in the hospital. But as Elwar and I were saying, 2,300 people over 8 years is not a large amount. That's a very small percentage of people that have had adverse side effects from using cannabis, right?
I was just reading in this book from Bill on my show on Saturday about how in 5,000 years of recorded history, no one has died of an overdose of cannabis or THC at all. Like, so I was like, well, that's amazing.
Like we said, the only way you're going to die from cannabis is a fucking 2-ton fucking, lands on your head. Will land on your head.
The truck that's the only way that's carrying it.
Like, you can take too much, of course. You can have, adverse.
You can sleep for 4 days, of course, but you're not going to die. Like,
they're hi, Amy. Thanks for joining in. Hi, guys. Sorry, I'm just seeing messages now. But there are so many other, like, you can get paranoid. Sure, you can have bad side effects. I've had friends phone me in the middle of the night saying, I think I'm going to die. I'm like, no, you're not. You're not going to die. Sniff some pepper, take some orange juice, go lay down, you'll be fine. Right?
So, and pink grapefruit, apparently.
Yes.
Pink grapefruit as well. It calms that. I was reading about
acidity, right? It's the acidity but again, I've got other friends that are now doing some research into juicing, right? And how the acidity part of the THCA is actually more beneficial for some people with epilepsy and neurological disorders, right? And that's actually being studied a friend of mine that has a daughter that was with the first licensed cannabis patient in Canada is working with her neurological in Vancouver and at the coast. So Cheryl's got some really exciting things going on too, but they're using microgreens and they're
The
actually
sprouts? Is that what you were talking about before on another show? Is the sprouts, the cannabis sprouts?
Yes.
So they juice it then, like a wheatgrass kind of, or no?
No, you juice the plant, you juice the bud, but this is microgreens. So what you do is you roll the seed, right? And at between 10 and 14 days, it's at its best. You eat it. You eat it just like a sprout, like on a sandwich and on your salad. You eat it. Like
That's so cool.
Right? So it's not, you don't have to juice those microgreens. No, you just eat, like, you make sprouts in a jar.
Eat them on a sandwich. Yeah, absolutely cool. That's what I thought. Yeah, neat.
No, you just eat them. Like they're just, but again, like I said, that stuff is just still in the works.
Yeah.
It's going to take years for everything to come forward, but we have come so far. Like I said, when I started this project in 2007, I never thought I would see the day that cannabis was legal. I never thought I'd see the day that we could do this and not have to worry about somebody fucking cutting us off and fucking saying, sorry, you can't do that. It's not legal. And what I told the cops when they showed up here after they fucking tried busting me for making my candies, I said, education's not illegal, dude. I can fucking talk about this. I can teach people about this. If that guy that you busted with all that candy fucking, because he brought his own product here, I showed him how to make it. We made his candy here and then he left with him. As a patient, he's done nothing wrong and neither have I. Right? And then I took the Owen Smith ruling with me when they fucking took me and drugged me down to the RCMP station and said, what are you going to do? Nothing. Zero. Fuck off.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yeah. Patients helping patients, and that's what's got us to where we are. And again, your story is another one that adds to the testimonials for other patients, right? Yes. And how you feel. And like you said, you're getting out of bed every day with positive thoughts and
I am like bouncing out of bed. I work again. Like I'm just like stronger than ever. Like I was like, look at my muscles. Like I don't even go to the gym. Like I feel amazing. I've got like an 8-pack of like accidentally now. Like I'm just like waking up more and more amazing all the time. And it's absolutely magical. And then, like I was saying earlier, you can use it on your kids. Like this one particular tincture I am going to use on my kiddo when she wakes up. She's got an ear infection. And so Bill was saying, okay, so you can drop THC that's warm into her ear and then like let it sit for 5 minutes or whatever, and then like let her lay the other way and drip out and then clean it out gently with like a warm Q-tip. And so I was like, okay, awesome. And so like immediately I can like help my kiddo and stuff instead of like rushing to a doctor or something and getting something like, no, I can just quickly at home help her with what I have because it is safe for children and your pets too. Like it's really neat.
Well, I've been giving my old guy some CBDs that my other friend Canamed makes, and it seems to help him a little bit too. But again, like I said, with it's all in what you do, and most doctors right now at this point, even medical doctors, if your kid's under the age of 6, they don't give them antibiotics anyways. They want you to fucking have their immune systems fighting that shit off, because they've now realized if you're giving your kids antibiotics too early, it doesn't fucking it doesn't help them as they get older, right? So they really don't offer antibiotics to little kids much anymore. I found that when Taylor was small, because he had chronic ear infections, right, all the time, and the doctor, to the point they were pussing, like pus pouring out of his fucking ears, right? It was bad, right? And
I've got her on colloidal silver as well. I truly believe.
I mean, I took him in, and the doctors weren't giving out penicillin. They weren't handing out into antibiotics by any means. They were like, no, his body needs to fight some of this immunity, right? So like that's from a medical doctor even. I was like, oh, okay, whatever you think, right? Okay. And then at the end of the day, the poor kid ended up having to have his tonsils taken out because it was causing so much grief for him, right? So again, different things for different, right? Again, I've had like my poor kid's had some delicious things going on over the last 14 years. It's been, but again, myself too, but we've battled through. We've tried all kinds of different things. I took him to a naturopath. I took him to a naturopath here in town, and I got sent home with here's a blood test. You do it at home yourself, and it's $75. Right? So some of the experiences for everybody are different, but like I took him to the naturopath here in town, trying to go a different route as well. Right? Not so much. It didn't seem like it didn't seem like anything. It didn't matter whether it was science or natural. Nothing we did for this poor kid was fucking helping him. Right? Couldn't sleep. They give him magnesium, melatonin, blah blah blah. between you, me, and the fence post, you know what's helping him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right. So,
And honestly, where with you were saying earlier with how you felt that a lot of your life is just nothing's working, nothing's helping, nothing's actually,
Yeah.
I would just from the bottom of my heart just recommend giving Bill a call and just talking to him, like free consultation, and just say like, this is what I'm going through, this is how I feel, and what do you recommend me? Like
everybody that's watching, like seriously, if you feel the same way that we do, that nothing has really helped, like whether you're doing like I said, methotrexate does help. I'm not going to say the pharma hasn't helped, it does. But all it's doing is suppressing my immune system, balancing my overactive immune system down so I can get out of bed and not have to use pain pills, right? But again, it's not good for me. It's fucking, I have to have blood tests.
And it's not the answer. Like for me, they kept covering it up with Band-Aids. Like, oh, well, we'll give you this to cover that. And I'm like, well, like, what's the root? What's the root? And then I don't even to this day know what the root was. It just is gone. Like, so
well,
yeah,
exactly.
It's weird. It's crazy.
Exactly. There's got to be something that causes, right? Cause and effect, right? So what's causing it so we can fix it? Let's not try and fucking mask it. Let's try and fix it, right?
Yeah. And they could never tell me what caused endo. Like they were like, we don't know if it's hereditary. We don't know if it's from this. We don't know what is. We don't know. Yeah.
Again, not enough research.
Not enough research. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I'm so excited about Bill's future research project. It's so exciting.
That would be great too. But again, like I said, women's reproduction health is something that we really have to be afraid of right now. We have to stand up because, like I said, what's going on in the States was by state too. That's women's health. We're not talking about abortion. We're not talking about taking lives away. We're talking about women's health. We're talking about the fact that they should be introducing cannabis to that too, maybe. You know what I'm saying? Like the United States is now looking at decriminalizing and legalizing cannabis. And in some states, they have medical in their states. But again, with women's health, if it's endometriosis and you can't have a child, why are they not looking at some other alternative? They can't figure it out. Let's figure this out.
Yeah. Right? Instead of doing another surgery, like I was like, no. And then I've even, like I said, heard you can get endometriosis come back right away after even getting a hysterectomy. Right. So I was like, why would you do that to me? Why would you keep making my life worse and worse and worse? So that's why I was like, they weren't helping me. They weren't curing me. They weren't healing, nothing. They were making side effect after side effect after side effect. Yeah. And I wanted to end my life every day because of that. Like, so yeah, like Bill literally saved my life. Like he gave me my life back to the point that I was like, I didn't even know all the cool things I can do now. I can because of cannabis, because of this and this and that. Like I'm all over the place now. Like, what's that?
And then you just do it, and that's amazing.
I do.
Right?
Yeah.
That's amazing. Like I said, that you've been able to find something that helps you, right? And that's what we want. And at the end of the day, we all just want quality of life and to feel better.
Yeah.
Right. And just have a good life, right?
Yeah. And then it's really actually interesting. The more that Bill's stuff started working, even like mentally with me, I say that it kind of like cleared like a fog, or like I was underwater, like drowning. And I didn't even realize it until things started fading. And I was like, oh, I can see now. I can like understand. And then that's how I started even doing my own research and like being my own doctor. Even I have like 4 shows about like 1, 2, 3, 4 about be your own doctor and what I learned by myself. And I was like, I'm so confused. I went to a doctor for how many years and no doctor ever told me that I'm lactose intolerant. And one thing that's really weird is those pains are exactly like the pains that used to drop me that they were calling endo. So now I'm like, what? Like, because I am like, no period problems, no blood problems, no clot problems, no surgery issues. And I don't have to do any of that anymore. But I still have my lactose pain. So I'm like, what? Like, so anyways, just last night, actually, I made some dinner for me and kiddo, and I happened to have some milk in the sauce. And I didn't even like think about it. I was like, I'm nowhere near my period. It's going to be fine. Like, blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden I dropped to the ground and I was like, no, I had to lay there and go through a lactose cramp. But it was always told to me for 12 years that it's endo pain. And then they're like, let's do surgery. Let's give you hormones. Let's do surgery. And I was like, that's maybe not the root. So on my own, I figured out I am lactose tolerant and I got to be careful. Yeah. Like, that's crazy to me that I'm like, you're the doctor. You should be telling me.
That just sounds like an incompetent fucking doctor, to be fair.
Well, that's multiple. Like, I've had 3 surgeries from 3 different doctors. And like, what?
So your GP basically sent you to a gynecologist. Then they did all these testings and found out all that stuff. And in reality, they didn't do the proper testing because you probably had a colonoscopy. You probably had fucking IBS or something along the road too.
Right? Like, it's horrifying. It's horrifying what I've been through. And I'm pretty sure something happened to me on the last table, like somewhere, and like something, I don't want to get into it more, but like, I think what I'm like, something happen, and I can feel it, and I know me, and I know my body now, and I know what my inner self, and I am me, like, connected now. So I know something happened. But anyway, I can't prove it. I can't say it because how am I supposed to know? I'm under anesthetic. So like, what is happening under there, and how come there's no cameras in there and like protecting us patients? How come there's no advocate for patients?
Well, you know, that's the thing. The hospitals have you sign a waiver, right? When you go in under the knife, you have to sign that piece of paper that says they're not responsible for anything. Right?
Tell me that nothing happened. Look at my hands. Like I'm literally like, tell me nothing happened. Like, yeah, it's just, and I don't want that to keep happening to other women. So that's why I'm like, you know what? Give it a chance and call Bill, because he was so kind to me and so nice, and he listened, and then he healed me. Like, so yeah. And you know, I didn't,
Anyway, this is a reminder. We'll wrap it up. I want to thank you again for being on my show. And
thank you so much for having me.
Because again, this will air again, and it will, go on and be archived, and your story will, and we're going to try and get Bill on too. I'd love to, share his message with
everyone. Has to hear Bill.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for joining us today, and we'll be back next week. I'll be on Wednesday night with Al on our Pace Radio show. And again, thanks to our sponsors. See you next week. Thanks again for being on.
Everybody.
Good night. Or good night. I guess it's not night. It's
afternoon.
See y'all later.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
The opinions of the individuals during this broadcast are their own, and may not be the opinions of their group or other organizations they may be involved with. All medical advice during our broadcast is not a medical opinion and should be checked with your medical physician.
When you have a pain that's reached its peak, Legacy for 20, it's so unique. If organic cannabis is what you seek, here's your trusted partner 7 days a week. Suppository salves, vapes and drops, topicals, edibles, infused pop. Just when life seems like it ain't easy, at Legacy 420, enjoy a pop freezy. Lab-tested products, make them the GOAT. Legacy 420 out on your road. Legacy 420 in Tyndonega Mohawk territory. Indigenous organic cannabis at its finest.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
Limestone City Hydroponics is Kingston, Ontario's hydroponics shop. Take your growing to the next level and create the optimal environment with a tent kit, or maximize your yield with an ebb and flow flood table kit. Either way, Limestone City Hydroponics has more sizes and options to fit your needs. Are you looking for the power of the sun that adapts to your budget? Then look no further, as they have professional grow lighting. They have indoor grow systems that are easy and cost effective, with many options to fit your living space and lifestyle. Cultivate your growing potential. We have everything you need to succeed. And if you can't make it to the store, they offer local delivery to the greater Kingston area. Remember, when you're looking for experts to help you grow, then look no further than the locally owned Limestone City Hydroponics, 105 Sunderland Drive in Kingston, Ontario. Call them at 613-548-0420.
We are people advocating cannabis education here at paceradio.net.